Hey everyone, welcome back to Nintendo Treehouse Live here at E3 2019. I am Demetrius and I'm joined by Tyler with the Publisher and Developer Relationship team at Nintendo, along with two very special guests from Bethesda. We have Craig and Matt. Craig and Matt, why don't you say hi?
How you doing? I'm Craig Lafferty.
All right. And now we're here to talk about the Elder Scrolls Blades. So why don't we go ahead and get started?
Definitely. So Blades is a classic dungeon crawler reimagined. It's all about the moment-to-moment gameplay of playing through a dungeon, finding enemies, one-on-one with the enemies, finding secrets, getting loot, and ultimately finding the boss or the exit to the dungeon, finding your way out, and then going back to town and sort of use everything you've got to level up your player, level up your town, and then keep exploring and keep going through the story.
Right on. Excellent. And then now you said you're a member of the Blades, correct?
Correct. So your character, when you start the game, you're one of the Blades. You've been forced into exile, so you're on the run, and you return to your hometown to find it just basically destroyed. And so you need to figure out why it's destroyed, what happened, and then work to rebuild it.
Okay. So I see that we're going through this dungeon here, and one thing I think we haven't even noticed, most people might notice, we have like a little blue arrow here kind of guiding us along, kind of just giving us an example of what we can do, correct?
Right, so that's the clairvoyance is what it's called, and that actually guides you through the dungeon. So to help give people a general sort of an idea of where to go ultimately for your goal. That doesn't tell you the secrets or where the other stuff is to explore, but it guides you towards the ultimate exit.
Awesome.
And then you can see here Matt's actually, so he just fought one of the skeevers and took him out pretty fast. But we spent a lot of time on the moment-to-moment gameplay. We want to make sure that the sword gameplay and the combat felt good, because if that's not fun, the rest of the game, it's not as big of not as important if the core moment doesn't feel good.
Most definitely. And in regards to combat, with now the controller support on the Nintendo Switch, could you go into a little more on how that came to be?
Yeah, so when we designed the game from the start, we had the Switch in mind and how the controls would translate over to the Switch. So you can see here, when he swings, the right Joy-Con is your right hand, and you can swing with the right and left hand. So you can sort of swing back and forth. It's pretty easy to pick up, but difficult to master. So initially, you can just swing left or right with the sword, but you'll notice the circle. It's actually the timing of that is key. If you let go at the peak of the circle, you get a crit, and you feel the feedback in the Joy-Con, and you do more damage.
I feel that when I started getting through it and I started getting better at the criticals, it just feels so good when you have that response from the HD Rumble and the Joy-Cons and seeing that flash. It's like it just really connects well.
Yeah, it feels great. And then you could basically get like basic combat left to right, but then you get crits going, you get combos going. You can actually hold down the trigger and control where you aim. So the combat starts off easy, but there's actually a ton of depth to actually master.
And I was seeing Matt doing some, I believe it's called perfect guards there. They look like you're timing that really well and blocking some of the damage and staggering the enemy. So really well done there.
If you time it just right, you can do criticals which do a ton more damage. And then if you can chain them together, you'll get combos that really, really helps you out. Yeah. On top of that, I started using some of the spells. So once you sort of master using the sword and shield to play regular combat, you can add in spells and maneuvers. There's a ton of stuff here you can customize, just like playing a regular Elder Scrolls game.
It's so good.
Is that a block of cheese?
It was.
Yeah.
Cheese is very important in this game. It heals you up. You always want to be looking out for food when you're in a dungeon because your health is really limited, and that's a key way to get through a dungeon and survive.
All right, dungeon cheese.
Now, right now we're kind of going through just a dungeon, but Craig, we have 3 different main modes, correct?
Correct. So there's the dungeon mode, there's the story mode where you sort of rebuild your town and go through, figure out the story, why it was destroyed and what happened, who the bad guy is. There's also an abyss mode, which is sort of an endless dungeon runner where it's how far can you get each time. You can pick the level you want to start on and see how far you get and what rewards you can get. And then this fall we're adding the arena mode, which is a whole new mode that adds PvP, it adds guilds, it adds the ability to visit your friends' towns, see what they have, see what decorations they have, where they got their decorations. You can also chat with your fellow guild members and take them on in combat. You can challenge them to one-on-one combat.
Which I think we have at Gentlemen's. As much as you want to call it Gentlemen's, we're just talking trash to each other because you're going down. So
no, you're going down. But first, I'm going to go visit your town. I'm going to see what you got. And I might ask you if I could borrow a couple lumber.
No.
Come on, man.
So this one, you can see with the controls, one of the things with that, we spent a lot of time on the controls initially with prototyping it out. We actually had several different prototypes at the beginning because we wanted it to feel good, feel like you're swinging the sword. Initially, we prototyped one, we had just basically geometric shapes on the screen that you would swing at. We had a prototype where you actually had the sword attached to your arm and you would actually swing it out right. And then we sort of ultimately settled on this because it gives us the best feel for, you feel like you're swinging, you can get the combos and the crits, but it also supports, you can do, Matt has a sword and shield, you can do daggers, which are really fast, and you could also do two-handed weapons, so it supports all three of those.
It's pretty awesome. And I noticed that we have the Necromancer. They look a little different from the other Necromancers, so...
Yeah, he poisoned me there for a second. He's a much more difficult enemy.
Oh, is that a switch right there? I think you're going to go for that,
oh, yeah.
that lever.
It's a switch.
Usually through these stages, I like in the beginning, it tells you that how many secrets are there to potentially find.
Correct.
And I like to scratch walls to see if I can find any levers or anything to pull to unlock secrets.
Yeah, so this one you can see the clairvoyance went off in the other way, but you found the lever. You go in here and we'll see if Matt can find a secret.
And one thing too to note about these type of enemies, these skeevers, that you have to hit them as they're coming towards you. You can't just, you have to like actually time your hit, so he's doing really well with that.
Yeah, timing's very important in this game because some enemies are kind of ranged like that, and others you want to do the criticals or get the perfect, swing against them.
And it's good to see enemy variation.
Could this be the secret? Yes, it is. And we found the secret.
Ah, secret.
So there's a lot of enemy types. So there's the skeevers. You can initially fight them one-on-one. After a while, you can have 2 or 3 of them that come after you. There's other different types of enemies. They all have different spells and abilities. So part of it is when you go back to town, you build up your town. You can build a blacksmith, and you can customize your weapon. You can enchant it. And so you make sure you have the right resistances or the right gear and armor to take on the different creatures in the dungeons as you go along. So it gets more and more complex. But so the combat is still this sort of the core basic combat, but it really gets more complex with the abilities and the back and forth in the combat.
And that's great. Like I personally am a sucker for like enchantments and all that stuff. I always like to try to put my own personality into a character, especially when I know you can create your own character like this in this game. So awesome news. Always cool to see. Nice shield bash.
Yeah, no, I do like that. Even though you might get really cool armor that you think looks great, you can't just you could just go into any stage with that, but it really helps when you have your different abilities and spells that you equip to make that either adaptable for a stage or a different playing experience, but still look as cool as you want to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here we're seeing a boss at the end of the dungeon. He's going to be a much more difficult combat.
Had a swag walk to him, too.
He had a nice appearance there.
Yeah.
Maybe use your Blizzard spell.
Oof. It's a tough one, though, yeah.
And the one thing we're not showing here, but we also have motion controls in the final game this fall as well.
I saw that in the showcase.
Yeah,
It seems like you can really hold your sword and your shield.
Yeah, so it feels like each hand is almost your sword and your shield. So the left one you can hold up and do a block or a bash. The right one to swing the sword. So it really feels great with the motion controls.
We're definitely looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Just we'll just be in the office and
I need a safe space now. Swing everywhere.
And that guy we rescued, he's the blacksmith, so he's going to go back to town and he'll improve weapons for you.
Excellent.
All right.
So that's a look at the first dungeon, correct?
Yeah.
Wait, but you got to break that pot. I'm like OCD. I have to like break everything open. Oh, there's one left. Oh, okay, good.
Did you rescue the first person?
Yeah, going through this dungeon, you want to pick up all these things because they're part of the crafting system. So you can make, weapons, armor, potions, all that stuff back in town with all these ingredients.
Switch this.
Switch to the next one.
Yeah, so if we switch to the other one, we can show you another dungeon type. We had an Ayleid Ruin dungeon.
Yeah, so we have the Ayleid Ruins. They are an area that we haven't shown since Oblivion. If we go back into our lore, the ancient elves are a main part of this quest, and they're kind of the main bad guys of the game. So you're kind of delving into a different area and showing off a lot of what the Elder Scrolls has with all these different locations you can go to.
That's super cool. All right.
Let's dive right into
So we're
those
going to dive
ruins.
right into it. Here we go.
So you can see immediately this looks, completely different. It's going to have different types of enemies and just a whole new feel.
Great art direction, too, I must say. I'm always a sucker for Elvish runes.
You like the particle effects.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to move to this door. All right, so we did kind of discuss we just rescued that blacksmith, and that's part of building your town, which we were saying earlier, correct? All right,
Correct.
cool.
So yeah, so as you go along, as you rescue people, so the blacksmith is now free. He goes back to town. You can rebuild the blacksmith, and then he's able to repair your weapons afterwards and enhance and improve them for you. And as you upgrade the blacksmith, he can do better weapons and more gear and the higher level stuff. And then as you play through, you rescue an enchanter. You can do jewelry. You can brew potions, and then more and more people, as your town gets bigger, more and more people start coming to your town, and that gives you more quests and more things to do.
One thing I'm noticing with we're fighting another mercenary, and each mercenary looks very different from the last one. I noticed a difference in races and, of course, loadouts, which I think is really awesome that you can really see the world and the lore of the Elder Scrolls here and see what you can potentially work up to and customize. Could you go into maybe customization a little bit?
Absolutely. In this game, you can play every race that's in the Elder Scrolls universe, and you can play male, female, and all these armors are in the game. We went through everything we've done in the past and brought it back in a whole new way for blades. And you can, collect all different types of weapons and artifacts. There's tons of customization.
It's pretty awesome. There's so many things to choose from and work up to. So if I went to go and visit Demetrius and see what he has, it's kind of incentive for me to find how I can get that on mine as well, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
I have all the good stuff. All the good stuff.
I'm coming for it.
I just gotta remember to repair. I'm the worst person at repairing. I'm terrible. I should have my hands slapped for it.
I also noticed over here these books are, glowing, so maybe that leads to something interesting. Let's look around. Did we find anything?
Ooh. More secrets. Who doesn't like secrets?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, in here. So here's one of those undead.
Oh, snap.
I opened up a secret area and he came out. He's defending all the loot.
Why did I have to think about the books?
I never looked at that before. I know.
Well, I got to scratch walls a bit harder now.
You took that guy out really fast. That was like, it was great.
Good combos, but I realized that the secrets are pretty integral in any stage, so it's nice that you can go through a stage, but with your secrets, you're going to find a lot more cool stuff that you wouldn't otherwise, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so as you go through the dungeon, you find the different things you need to upgrade your weapons, to brew potions, to enchant them, and then that'll play key into the PvP, because when you go to PvP, you're not sure what the other guy's going to have. What weapons is he going to have? What resistance is he going to have? And the PvP is almost like a fighting game where you have 3 rounds and you fight the guy, so you can equip your character and use your spells and abilities, and then you see what he has, and then between rounds you can swap them out. And so you can see, it gives you a really good opportunity to show off all the stuff you've collected, how awesome your character looks, if you tricked it out with dragon armor, what you've done, and what other people have as well.
Oh, dragon armor.
Yeah.
But I do like that. There's really motivation for, having the players explore each dungeon. That although you have the clairvoyance to guide you, there are times I've gotten lost. But that's because I do like to scratch walls.
And then the really good thing is, so it's out on mobile now, but when it comes on Switch, all your progress will carry over. So it's cross-play and cross-progression with the other version. So you'll be able to pick up where you left off, as well as fight people on all the different systems with it as well.
So Demetrius and I start training on that, and once we have it this fall, we're ready with our Switch, our Nintendo Switches and our Joy-Con controllers to duke it out, right?
Yeah, totally. I'm 100% in on this. I love all the Elder Scrolls games. I'm always playing these. Super, super fun.
Yes, we just did a really big update. We added a Dragon Slayer quest line. We added the jewelry system. We added new jobs and new solo arena jobs. And then there's so much lore we can pull from. So we'll be adding a lot of that Elder Scrolls stuff to the game as we go.
We're definitely looking forward to that.
Man, there's a lot of people down here. Just thinking.
There's a lot of jobs. So the main game has the quest where you're going through trying to figure out how to rebuild your town. It's a quest you follow through. There's also a job system that you can do to get the loot you need. And there's all sorts of different challenges in the jobs to collect things or to fight people one-on-one in a solo arena battle, to rescue people. And those are sort of like things you can do on the side when you're also doing the main quest to build up your town.
In the beginning, was there a discussion for, well, how many races or how many types of armor do we want to include? And eventually you just kind of went to, let's just do all of it?
Well, we knew right away we wanted to have all the races in the game. It can't be an Elder Scrolls game if you can't play who you want to play. And then we put as much armor as we possibly could into it.
Yeah, there's a lot in this.
This is definitely a lot. It's pretty awesome.
It's a big game.
Okay. Seeing that I think we cleared. Oh, I was just about to say I think we cleared out some of the enemies.
Like when you
there
think
go.
you're at the end.
Cue the other mercenary showing up.
You can see this is progressively harder than the last stage that we were going through.
Yeah, no, I'm just kind of like enthralled because I got to work on my game on this because I'm seeing all these like perfect hits and combos.
That's when you got to
and
get
I've been working
good.
on that. I know.
You got to make sure your combos and your crits are up, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So see, he's a little bit lost there, so the clairvoyance helps you find your way through the dungeon.
There we go. The golden door.
Yeah.
But if you explore off the path and don't follow clairvoyance, that's where you're going to find the secrets, the extra loot. That's what you really need to do to progress.
Mm-hmm. All right.
It's very
over there.
exciting to see all of the cool things from the world of the Elder Scrolls right here.
Oh man. Okay. So yeah, these mercenaries are tough. I'm just trying to see how you could time your blocks perfect. Oh, there we go. A good combo right there too.
Yeah, combos are really, really great.
So notice also when you
That's so
can,
big.
you were talking about how you can not just have a regular swing, but it goes from, you can have a higher or lower in positioning of your weapon.
Yeah, so you can use the right stick. You see how I'm kind of raising and lowering, and I'm going to try and aim for a better swing on him.
It's really important, like when you fight the skeever, since they jump up, you can actually determine if you want to swing high or low and aim, and that's really important to the timing of hitting them.
You saw a critical combo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like half health right there.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I really do like when I started getting those crits. Just the feel with the controller and the rumble.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think we just completed that
There you
dungeon.
go. And you found the secret.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we did is we got to show you a chance at, or take a look at 2 dungeons. Is anything else you guys would like to discuss?
No, I think that's everything. Like I said, it's cross-play and cross-progression with the mobile versions. So really looking forward to it coming out this fall on the Switch and getting people's feedback.
Great. Okay. Well, everyone, just like to say thank you very, very much for watching. This is going to be the end of the day for us today, but we will be back tomorrow for an indie day. So look forward to that, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. This is us signing out.